All right, we're going live. Streaming is good. I'm checking your page.
All righty. Peace and blessings, family. This is Brother Shareef and Brother Ptah with the Hour of Power. We'll start out with our universal opening prayer, and then we'll get into this much anticipated and much needed conversation and interview with our good brother, Mr. Anthony Zorbaugh. So, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another seven oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the gracious, the merciful. We thank him, we confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Neter, oracle scriptures and writings that came on the continent of Africa thousands of years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my Black conscious family, hotep. To my Native American family, halito. And to the people in the streets, what's good to you? It all means peace. So without no further ado, we have our wonderful guest here, Mr. Anthony Zorbaugh. Can you tell us about yourself real quick, my brother?
Sure. I'm a native of York County in York City. Grew up in York City. I was a graduate of 94 York Catholic High School. Went on to college, got out of school, and got into the field of criminology. And I spent over 12 years at the York County Youth Development Center in York City, dealing with many of our troubled youth that come through the city. And then I ventured off to South Florida about 10 years ago, and I became the CEO of a nonprofit down in South Florida called The Source. And we are the proud inventors and creators of this amazing bus that's behind us called the Dignity Bus. It's the first mobile emergency shelter in the United States. We currently operate 3 of them in South Florida. We have one in Rhode Island, and we have one in Chicago. And in 2025, we have contracts to build an additional 5 more, to launch 5 more in the United States. So God has been so good to us and what we've been able to do. And all we're trying to do is just help people and move them out of homelessness.
Yes. And I want to reiterate that you are a native of York.
Yes.
When people saw me post the interview, a couple people asked me, said, "Where's he from?" I said, "Homegrown, right here."
Right here.
And of course, I don't know if you remember me that much, but
Yeah.
me and your
Yep.
brother was really close, and your family
Yep.
was like my family. Invited us out to the house and everything.
Yeah. So in 2015, I grew up in Fireside,
Okay.
right outside of Parkway.
Hmm.
Um, we played basketball at Lincoln Park together.
Hmm.
We were involved in a lot of sports in the city. But in 2015, my parents passed away in a house fire in York City. They had a tragic house fire that caught on fire in York, and they found my mom hugging my dad in the kitchen. And it's, they say there's no greater gift than to lay one's life down for somebody else.
Hmm.
And that's basically what they did. So we came down to South Florida, and we started a nonprofit down here, and it's been an amazing journey and an amazing opportunity for what we've been able to do in South Florida and around the country. So we're excited to be able to share our innovative ideas and how we approach and tackle homelessness, because homelessness is housing does not solve homelessness. Community does. So you cannot just pick people up, put them in housing, and think that solves the problem. right? We know that God has given every human being on this planet gifts and abilities and talents, and each person is meant to create. Human beings are not meant to sit on the side of the curb and ask for money and ask for handouts, because God gave them abilities to create, right? That's what we're here to encourage individuals to get up and to work and to produce and get off of the system, because the system has allowed so many people on disability and living off of the government, handcuffs them into a life of poverty. And if you're living on $800 a month, well, you're going to be in poverty and you're going to be homeless the rest of your life. Because here in South Florida, you can't rent a room for $800 a month. I don't know about in York City, but in South Florida, you cannot even rent a room for $800 a month. So we need people, right? We need people to produce. So we say, listen, are you only worth $800 a month, or are you worth $800 a week? So how can we get you to produce what God has put inside of you? Whether you're an artist, whether you're a musician, whether you're a chef, whether you're a cook, you know what I mean? Carpenter, we want you to produce, and we want you to be able to be self-sufficient. Because putting people in housing with a housing voucher ends up going away in 6 months, and you're back at the same square root from when you started. So we need to get people to start to generate revenue so that they can be self-sufficient, if that makes any kind of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Can you, with all your talents and efforts, you could have went a lot of different ways. Like you said, you went to school for criminology. What got you in the direction of helping the homeless?
Yeah, so when I was at the Youth Development Center, I was their community outreach coordinator. So I created a program out there that took our at-risk children who were going to programs around the state of Pennsylvania. When a child gets put into the system is not designed to reunify individuals and to reunify families and to bring them back within the community. It's designed to send them away for 6 months, 9 months into a youth program. So these children are really just
Words of
to
the
the
state.
government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. They're just people don't understand that people are making money off of them, right? So individuals are literally being sent to all of these institutions all over the state of Pennsylvania. I come in and I say, listen, these kids have value. These kids can produce. These kids just don't have the right guidance and discipline within the community. So let me take them back into the community. So what we did was, back in 2008, we started a community outreach program that we took the same kids that were committing crimes within the city, and we started to remove gang graffiti in the city. So we started to paint within the city. We started painting garages, buildings, power washing, up and down Queen Street, Duke Street, street sweeping and cleaning up the streets. And we had no kids were arrested, no kids were running away. And then we went back to the court system to say, hey, listen, these kids need an opportunity in the community. Can we reunify them with an aunt, an uncle, somebody, a grandmother, somebody within the system that can help these kids so that they can go back home, so that they're not going to transitional facilities for a year or 2 years or 3 years. So that's what we were doing. So within that program, I had to raise money. I had to build relationships. I had to do all of those things. I did that for about 10 years, a little more than 10 years. And then I transitioned to a facility in Lancaster County called the Mix at Arbor Place. And the Mix at Arbor Place was like a boys and girls club in the heart of the city. It was designed. We built a $4 million gymnasium. We had a commercial kitchen. We had a weight room. We had classrooms. It was literally in the heart of the city to give our at-risk children an opportunity for a free program for their families to come in. They could get meals. They could get educational programs, and it was totally free. It was almost like a boys and girls club, but was free. It was designed for the community to be able to come in and provide those services to our most vulnerable kids in the city. So I did that for about a year there in Lancaster, and then pre-COVID, we were looking for some rental property in South Florida. And when that happened, my wife, who was in pharmaceuticals in Philadelphia, their company was moving to Boston. And they asked us if we wanted to move to Boston. And she said, no, I don't want to go to the cold. Why don't we just move to South Florida? So we moved to South Florida, and God has been good ever since. I've been traveling around the country, speaking at multiple organizations and state conferences about that amazing bus that you see behind you.
Wow. What was the excuse me. How did you get started? That's my main question. With the bus, that had to be a lot of legwork.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so if you look at our website at iamthesource.org, the bus is just one piece of what we do. So when individuals come in from being homeless, again, the first thing that they need is not just housing, they need community, right? So they need a supportive community of people that care about them and that can help them through their the issues that they're going through. So first thing we did was we set up a almost like a rescue mission. We provided meals and showers and laundry facilities, the basic needs that a human being needs, right? So when we did that for a little over a year. We said, you know what, providing just meals to people is not what we want to do. So we looked at the models of nonprofits across the country, and you'll hear this saying, it's not a handout, but a hand up.
Yes, sir.
You'll hear that across the country. It's not a handout, but it's a hand up. We looked at that model and said, well, there's still somebody in control with a handout and a hand up, right? Somebody has to be pushing and pulling in both of those models. So we came in and we said, you know what? We want to be a hand in. We want every single person to have their hand in the process, which means government has to have their hand in, local businesses have to have their hand in, churches, nonprofits, and the people you serve have to have their hand in the process. So once we did that, we created a culinary training program for individuals to come in, and we started a restaurant-style dining for the homeless. So when individuals come in, they get seated, they get waited on, and they get menus of what they want to eat for the day.
Wow.
So it's no longer just a soup kitchen where you come in, get a peanut butter and jelly and a milk, and out the door you go, right? So now you can start to have conversations with people and say, hey, my man, what's going on? Why are you still here every day? What's happening? Oh, how would you like your eggs? Oh, you want French toast? You want pancakes? What is it that you want? So then the people that are waiting on them are students that are in a training program that want to go back to work in the restaurant industry. So now we're training people, certifying them, and putting them back to work. So from that piece, that started to take off like wildfire. So what we did from that was we started a catering company. So we have a catering company called Dignity Caterers. So now we provide catering to weddings, other nonprofit events, other functions, and then we generate revenue that helps support the nonprofit. So then from the catering company, we started a food truck business. So not only do we have one food truck, but we have two food trucks. So we have two food trucks that go out that are run by our students who have graduated the culinary training program. And each truck, after we pay all the salaries and the fees and the food cost, generates about $100,000 a year in profit that goes back into the program. So from that program, we had to add mental health services. Right. So we have 3 licensed mental health clinicians that work for us on site every single day, 7 days a week, so that our individuals who are seeking to get out of homelessness can have some sort of mental health evaluations and people to talk to. And it wasn't just for homeless people, it was also for our staff, because when you're dealing with people that are dealing with trauma, the people that are serving those people take on that trauma themselves. So we had to be able to process that in a healthy way to somebody else. So then we brought in mental health services. So from that program, we ended up starting another program called Dignity Smiles. Dignity Smiles is a program where we have 9 local dentists in South Florida that every student who graduates our program gets a full dental restoration. They don't just get cleanings and extractions from the health department. They actually get to go see a dentist, and they get, whether it's dentures, whether it's bridges, whether it's implants, 100% paid for, free by the dentist in our community. So again, not a lot of people have the ability to write $10,000 checks or $50,000 checks. We just want to look at what their gifts and talents were, and if we can kind of bridge that and put them together. Well, hey, you do dentist work, dentistry.
Right.
This person needs a smile. He needs to go back to work. Can you help us? So when all of these programs started, our homeless population was still sleeping outside because we didn't have a shelter for them to go to. So again, you have to get creative. You can try to get a building, you can try to do all those things in cities all across America, but if you heard of the word NIMBYism, not in my backyard, nobody wants homelessness in their backyard, because the theory is that they're going to depreciate our property values, they're going to bring high crime, they're going to bring drugs, they're going to bring all of these crazy things. That is unrealistic, and that never happens, because as you all know, the people that we serve, the people who have the least, usually give the most, right? We know that the people that have the least are usually given the most. So from that, we were like, how do we find a place to put these people? So we went to the city officials, we went to county officials. Every single person said, no, we can't give you a building, because when you take a building and give it to a nonprofit, the taxes from that building get then spread out through the community, right? So you're taking a building off the tax rolls, people start to get upset, they start to get ticked off, and they say, I'm not responsible for taxes and paying for somebody else's mistakes. Mm-hmm. So what we did was we got creative, and we said, you know what, we'll provide the same services in a mobile bus. So we took a mobile Greyhound bus, we stripped everything out, and we looked at our members who were former builders, construction workers, electricians, and all of these guys are now building these mobile shelters. And now we're starting to put money back into their hands because they're amazing carpenters, right? Sure. So the bus you see right here has 20 beds on it. It runs 365 days a year. It has a bathroom in the back of the bus. It has a running hand sink, but it has running water on the bus. And it also comes with a washer and dryer so that they can wash the linen and bedding when people get off of the bus every single day.
Wow. I'm blown away already. Brother
It's crazy,
Ptah,
right?
do you got
it's crazy.
something?
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in. First of all, I thank you. This is one honor to meet you. I'm Ptah Shakur. I'm the co-host of this wonderful program. So I got two things. For one, for everyone who's watching this live on White Rose Community Channel 16 and Channel 18, this is also being broadcast also on Facebook, and then it will be put on YouTube channel as well. We're here with the wonderful Anthony. Is it Zorbaugh?
Zorbaugh, yep.
Zorbaugh, got you. He is an individual that has this wonderful, if you can see behind the screen there, we have the setup here with the little mobile television there, the Dignity Bus. This is something to answer the homelessness. As we speak about this program quite a bit, this is a community program. We want to make sure that if you have any type of idea that helps support the community, business idea, youth, we both are youth advocates. We would die on that hill. We'll get to that in a moment. Shout out to you. You know, like you said, you were starting out there at the Youth Development Center as well. So I just want to implore everybody to give a call in, share a comment. We got individuals kind of lining up right now. The number is 717-846-5067. And then personally, when I was sharing to you, God bless you, sir, as far as the layout of the program that you were sharing and how they kind of complement one another. This is very much in time of where we're moving into this new powerful frequency. We have to lead with our love and lead with our light. You know, so I commend you what you're doing, and we're going to do our due diligence to make sure this gets viral and very, very powerful. Wonderful to meet you. So I do got some questions I'm going to kind of pop in at the very end. I'm kind of managing things on the Facebook side, but thank you very much. I just want to share that.
Yes, Mr. And we want to reiterate that this is our brother from right here in York, PA. He ain't from some other state and just popping in. He has a love for where he's at. He's spreading it, but he's a native of York, PA. And that's my next question. We had talked before. What can homelessness is out of control everywhere. Anthony, if you remember, what's that Princess Street Bridge?
What's up with it?
The Princess Street Bridge, people are camping out there with tents. Mm-hmm. Where the York City School District is on Pershing Avenue. They're camping out. They're camping out there, and they were even camping out at the building across the street from McDonald's, which is the city hall. But they had to move. What can we do to get this here?
So the first thing that you have to look at is every year the county and the city does, it's called a point in time count. And I emailed you over some links of the organization that does that so that you can look that up. But they have, it's called a COC, it's called a Continuum of Care. So the COC, the Continuum of Care, is the lead organization that works with all of your nonprofits in the area that focus on homelessness. And they'll do a point in time count where they'll go out one night and they'll look at who's homeless and who's not homeless. And they'll tell you how many shelters there are, how many beds are available, things of that nature. So I would reach out to them first and say, hey, listen, we want to come to a meeting with the local COC. They're the funders for the federal government. So the federal government has federal dollars that can be drawn down and given to your community for programs like this. The city has dollars, the county has dollars. It's just getting to the right person who has that funding. I've been in contact with the chief of police. I've spoken to you a little bit about that, about my contacts with him. I know he's going to be running for mayor shortly when the mayor's race is available. But you really have to get in front of the right people that are providing those type of critical services within the community. I mean, the beautiful bus that you see behind you, I can build that within 2 weeks and have it outfitted, retrofitted into your doorstep and ready for people to sleep on it in 2 weeks.
How many people does it? Quick question. I know you mentioned as far as having bathroom, running water, and has the laundering capacity. How many individuals are able to comfortably be on that at a time, or how is it set up as far as that process?
Yeah, so the top of the bus can sleep 20, and the bottom of the bus, so the bottom of the bus has storage for all of their belongings. We store their belongings underneath the bus. It has pet cages underneath of it for people's pets. In York County, there's not one shelter that accepts pets in York County.
Mm.
So if you got an animal that you love and that's your child, you're not going indoors. Or as a matter of fact, no facility will take you because you have a pet. So this solves a lot of those issues for individuals where we have pet cages where people can, keep their animals safe.
So you said that's the continuum of care?
Yep.
That's the first contact?
Yep, that's your first contact, and I emailed that to you.
Okay, so that's in my inbox?
Yep, that's in
with their
inbox.
Phone number and all that stuff?
Everything. Yep,
okay.
Everything.
I'm going to look and see. Well, I'll do that later. That's not the appropriate time. So you said you emailed that to me. So contact them first and ask for a meeting or?
Yep, asked if you can attend their annual meetings. They meet monthly. I believe it's the last Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
It should be open to the public. So the public can come in, and usually if you come in and you say, hey, listen, I'm coming with a solution. I'm from the community. I'm not coming here with problems. We all know we have homeless problems. I'm coming with a solution. I believe that this is a viable solution. It's a mobile facility where you can move it from the south side to the east side to the west. You can move it anywhere. You can take the shelter anywhere, and that's the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm. And how do you? Brother Ptah has a question.
Yeah, you got people interested on making comments right now, just commending you for the blueprint. And like I said, this is something that's viral, should be going viral, and I'm excited that individuals they're asking about the blueprint. So we do plan on furthering this. But I did want to make what asked you real quick was the culinary training program. Because I know on this program at this program here we seek to have solutions to particular problems, and so one of the things we were speaking about was the massive amount of individuals that are in the prison, the penal system, and so that's been long on my mind as far as how to develop a culinary program for individuals that are coming out of the penal system, because how they can learn those particular skills and how they can actually produce food, and then how that everything goes to youth, because we understand that some of the problems that the youth are having now is that we don't really sit down at the dinner table and have that connection time. And so the idea is to take individuals from out of prison, which we have a lot of soldiers, a lot of angelic soldiers that could be added to, assist these particular things, and then have them learn the culinary arts skills to actually produce meals for kids that parents are, they call them latchkey kids, So I'll be reaching out to you to kind of get some more kind of idea about that wonderful program. And that program was called the Dignity Catering.
Dining with Dignity.
What's it
It's
called?
called Dining with Dignity.
Dining with Dignity.
Dining.
Thank you. I'm putting all of this. I'm taking copious notes and putting them on the thing there. Dining with Dignity. Okay.
Yep. It's restaurant style dining for the homeless.
Okay. Thank you. That was my comment. Dining with.
Yep. And in York City, you remember the lighthouse right
Yes, sir.
down off of Main Street?
Yeah, we spoke
Right.
about that.
That's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone. It's gone. Everything's gone. Everything's is it's not funded anymore. People aren't interested in anymore. That's the stuff that we went to when we were young, right? You're going to boys club. You're involved in a lot of stuff. All that stuff is just is obsolete, and that kind of stuff really has to come back under some sort of umbrella somewhere, so that some of these kids have an opportunity to flourish and see that the gifts and talents that they have, they can flourish. Because we have a lot of gifted people that came out of York City.
Absolutely.
There's a ton of gifted, and it's not just about basketball.
Sure.
It's not just about football. It's not just about athletics. There's a lot of gifted people that have come from, out of the concrete, and like you said, there's a lot of soldiers that are out there that just need an opportunity.
Right.
So you said the continuum of care, that's the first step. Set up a meeting with them, right?
Correct. Yep.
You're giving us solutions now. This just ain't a regular
Yeah.
conversation. We're trying to save lives,
Exactly.
And it should
That's all
be
that we're
here, and
doing.
they have the funding for it. I remember me and you
Exactly.
discussed that.
Yep,
Uh,
absolutely. But you got to remember too, not too many people want to do this work.
That was kind of like my question. Of why do you think that? Now you mentioned about the lighthouse and different type of things that were there. Just kind of throwing this out there. Why do you think that has changed, or why the interest isn't there?
I'll tell you why. Because poverty's a business. Keeping people where they're
Repeat
at.
that, my brother.
Poverty is a business.
Wow. In what
Keeping
way?
people where they're at is a business, right? So if the three of us on this program came up with a cure for diabetes, you think they would let us live?
Think about it.
It's as Denton
Too much
into
money in the medicine. Too
Right.
much money in the medicine. Ain't no money in the cure. There's money in the medicine,
Facts.
right? So keeping people where they're at, keeping people incarcerated,
Right.
is a business.
Right.
Healthcare is a business. Education is a business.
Right.
Now let me give you something else that people should think about. Not just in York City or York County or just across the country. When people are young, when they're starting out and they're having families, first thing that they look for when they have children that are young is, I'm going to buy a house in a good school district. Until that changes, until the kids that Phineas Davis or Jackson have the same types of quality of school books and materials that somebody does out in Central or Suburban or York Catholic, until everybody has an equal playing field across the board. A number 2 pencil is a number 2 pencil, right? A history book is a history book. A math book is a math book. But you got other schools that have different stuff than other schools that don't, right? So until we can all start on an equal playing field, it don't matter what school district you go to, because we all are the same. But we all know that that's a business, right? Different schools get different stuff based on different test scores.
Now, God willing, and with God's help, me and Ptah and some other people saying that they want to help, but of course with your lead,
Sure.
we want to bring this here. How do you go about the people operating it? You got to have someone that drives, I imagine. What's the details with getting people to, because it can't operate by itself.
Right, exactly. So for us, in South Florida, I started when I started the operation. I started with $38,000 in the bank. 7 years later, we have 10 million. So again, being able to know that, without vision, the people perish. You have to have your vision. You have to lay it out, and God, the Creator, will align it and make it happen, right? In our organization, we start with yes and. We always have yes and. We don't have nobody come to the table and say, no, it can't happen. It's always yes and. Like, you want a bus? Okay, yes, we'll bring it here. And who's going to help us do it? Right? We always have that yes and. The and is who's gonna be partners at the table, right? So then when you go to the COC meeting, you say, hey, listen, we got a solution. Which one of you providers here are already doing shelter would want to do it?
I feel you.
Because we don't want to duplicate services.
Right.
And if nobody steps up and says, no, we're not interested in doing it, then you step to the plate and say, listen, maybe we create our own non-profit.
Right. And
we do it ourselves. Because it doesn't cost you much to start your own nonprofit. It's like $350. Do the paperwork, if that. Do it online and say, hey, listen, we're gonna make this happen ourselves. There's a lot of people within the community that would love to step in and do some of this stuff. Like you said, there's people that come out of incarceration. There's people that are looking for opportunities. One of the biggest things that we use people that are coming out of homelessness to be the drivers, to be the attendants. We put money back into their hands and give them opportunities, as opposed to trying to look for other people to do it, right? So we try to control, we control all of our own money. We control how we do it. We produce our own money, whether it's through food trucks or catering or building buses. We generate revenue from all of these things so that our organization can continue to thrive.
Okay, so basically,
we just talked about the bus, right? The bus program. So my organization even took it one step further. Last year, we bought an old vacation resort in South Florida. We bought a facility that has 18 cottages, has a chapel on site, it has a community building, it has an outdoor kitchen. We ended up raising the money so that we could do affordable housing for people. We have 18 units. We have 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and efficiencies. So the efficiencies, there's no security deposit, there's no first last, there's no utilities. Everything is included. So for an efficiency, it's $450 a month. For a 1 bedroom, it's $500 a month, and for a 2 bedroom, it's $650 a month. That includes your cable, your utilities, includes everything.
That's a deal.
And when I tell you everybody pays, everybody pays. So it's self-sufficient, right? So March 3rd, in a month and a half, we close on a property in South Florida on a 30-acre campus. It used to be a boys' residential treatment facility owned by an organization called Teen Challenge. So we close on this property. It's 30 acres, 18,000 square feet of buildings. It has 9 buildings with commercial kitchen, a swimming pool, an administration building. This came to us like 3 weeks ago. We had no idea where we were getting the money from. Somebody contacted us and said, hey, it's going on the market. They're going to list it for $2.1 million. So I go to my board of directors and I say, hey, listen, I think this is going to be great. We can do affordable housing and we can house 120 people on site at this property. They said, sure, well, we'd love for you to go ahead and get it, but go ahead and raise the money. We raised every single dime in 30 days, in less than 30 days. So again, if it's meant to be, it will be, right? If God has put that vision in your heart and God has said, hey, listen, we found a solution. We're going to bring some buses to York. It'll happen. It'll just some way, somewhere, you're going to meet the right people. You're going to talk to the right person. And this thing is just going to click and it's going to happen pretty quickly.
I'm talking to the right person now. Yeah.
Well, I can get it to you. I can get it to you. You just got to do the other legwork.
Right. Yeah.
This is so amazing. I'm already starting. Where's this located in South Florida? Is it multiple locations, or what's your main headquarters there in South Florida?
So our main hub is in Vero Beach, Florida. So
how do you spell that?
Orlando, Vero, Vero, Vero Beach.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you have Orlando, and then you have West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale.
Yes,
We're
sir.
smack in
Okay.
the middle of that.
Good location. I reason I mentioned I go down there quite a bit, so Shareef and I we might come down and visit you down there and do a little live streaming down there as well.
We got housing. You can stay with us.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, this needs to be like I said, this is the frequency shift that I was speaking of. This is right on time. Did have a question as far as you did answer as far as the individuals that help. You had former individuals that suffer from homelessness. What percentage of your assistance come through volunteers?
Probably about 10%.
10%. Wow.
Yeah, we have 39 employees now.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's a big organization.
And then another little quick question in there, like what's some? I know some people that's listening at home, and like I said, if you are listening at home on the White Rose Community Channel, channel 16, we will be kicking off at 9 o'clock. But stay, everybody who's watching on Facebook, we will continue as long as we're able to go. So just asking, I'm just kind of asking questions for the individuals that are watching, and that will rewatch this program later on. Have you had any type of security issues, or how has things been? How has you been? Receptive. I know you said about having the 3 licensed mental practitioners, which is I guess is really, really key. But can you talk about that? Any type? Would you have to address security?
So in the 3 years that we've operated our 3 buses in South Florida, we've had 0 drugs, 0 fights, 0 police calls. We had 1 incident on our bus where we had a 72-year-old woman die in the bathroom of a heart attack.
Yes, sir.
The good thing about that was she died with people that cared about her.
Community.
Right? She didn't die in the woods. She didn't die alone. She was with the people that cared about her. So again, when you create that community of people, it's not just a service, right? Where here you go, here's your bed, go to sleep. It's not just that. It's individuals that truly care about them. And we don't segregate either, right? So if you look at how services are provided, it's still segregated. So think about that. So if you were a veteran, if you have a veteran shelter for just veterans, if you're not a veteran, you can't get in. That's segregation.
Yes, sir.
If you have a domestic violence house and you guys are trying to go get in, they won't let you in because you're not experiencing domestic violence. If you have a women and children's facility and you don't have women and children, you can't get in. So we looked at all of those services on how people provide services, and we said, you know what? We want to be the lowest barrier that we can be. And we just want to help every single human being that comes to our doors, right? These are adults. We treat them like they're adults, right? So there's a lot of programs that around the country that you have to abstain from everything, right? So we have a philosophy at our building on harm reduction, right? Harm reduction is like, it's as simple as this. So if I have a guy who's been homeless for 15 years, he drinks a gallon of vodka every single day, but I got him to a pint. Do you see success? He was at a gallon every day.
It's a growth.
But he's at a pint, right? So there's growth. Many programs will say, no, he's still an alcoholic. He can't come in here.
Right.
He's still a drunk. There's got to be sobriety, right? So we treat people like they're adults, right? We tell them what you do in your home, what you do in your house, where you sleep at night is your business. If you bring it outside, it's now our business. And I promise you, there's more alcoholics, there's more people that are addicted to methamphetamines than just the 600,000 people that are homeless across the United States. There's doctors and lawyers and people in the education system that go home every single night and have a few beers because that's just what they do. That's how they function.
Right.
But for some reason, the population that we serve has to be all or nothing, and that's unreal. That's unrealistic.
Exactly.
Right? That's unrealistic. That's like me. That's like them telling me, "Hey, you got to lose weight in order for you to get a bed." Come on now, Chick-fil-A, man. Chick-fil-A is stuff.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is like crack to everybody. So it's unrealistic. It's just unrealistic measures for people. But when you talk about the population that we serve, it's just unrealistic.
Mr. Zorbaugh, you probably have heard this before, but a prevalent problem here in York City is you have programs for women and children that hardly nothing for men. What do you think the reason for that is, and do you see that where your area is?
We do, and we see that all over the country. We actually were when we launched a bus in Rhode Island. I just literally sent two former homeless people who are the builders of the bus to Rhode Island. I put them on a plane, gave them my company credit card. I said, hey, I need you to go up there and do some repairs on the bus. When they got off the plane, the mayor of the city of Woonsocket picked them up in their car, took them to his house, put them up in his house overnight for 2 nights, fed them, did all those things, and he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe the quality of work that we were doing. They again, the way that people view homelessness is children and puppies are like the hot spot, right? But when you talk about just regular folks that are just struggling, they can kind of take care of themselves. They really can take care of themselves. But this organization up in Rhode Island that we went to, they took us through this nonprofit, and they showed us a closet, and they said, "Oh, that's where we keep the pipes and the needles." And I said, "What are you talking about, pipes and the needles?" They said, "Well, we have clients who are addicted to crack and methamphetamines, and if they turn in their dirty pipes and their needles, we give them a $25 gift card, and we hand out free crack pipes and free needles."
Okay.
To me, that's insane, right? To me, that's crazy, because then you then say that we have a drug problem in the community, right? Why would you do that? That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Right.
But there's communities across the country that believe in that. They believe in somebody somewhere is making money on crack pipes and needles somewhere.
Thanks.
Because why are you handing out $25 gift cards, which makes no sense.
Right.
Wow.
Real solutions, right? From the ground level up. We gotta build this. I did have a real quick question as far as what's your age requirements like as far as like for an individual coming to you, do they have to be over 21 or what?
No, we have families with little kids, with children. The one thing with the beauty of our buses is that, like I was telling you, the nonprofits that serve families and children, what they do is they do background checks in order to get into their centers. So there's a gap in service. So that takes usually about 24 to 72 hours to do.
Yeah.
So they're on the street. They're either sleeping in their cars, they're wandering around until they get an answer if they meet the requirements for them to go indoors.
Right.
So they automatically come to us. The 55 beds that I operate are filled within 15 to 20 minutes every single morning. They're sold out like that because there is no requirements. There is no background checks. There's no requirements for anybody to stay. The only requirement that we have is we charge individuals $2 a night to stay on. Remember that whole hand-in process?
Yes, sir.
You have to pay in order to stay. You have to be able to have a hand-in the process, right? Because many of our individuals get a paycheck. Many of them are smoking cigarettes. Many of them are drinking alcohol. Many of them have to make hard choices. Do you want a bed? Do you want to sleep? Do you want safety? Or do you want to smoke cigarettes?
Beautiful. Yes, sir.
The choice is yours.
So you said the community basically makes the system go, as far as the bus drivers or security, the people need jobs.
And then we also have a member advisory council that is comprised with our members that are in homelessness that come to our facility. So we have a group of 12 individuals that come to a meeting once a month, and then they come to my board meeting, and they actually report on what's going on the streets, what's happening because me and you and us three can think of what a homeless person might need, but I ain't sleeping on the street.
Right.
Right? I'm going home at night. We want to hear from you. What is it that you need? Right? If I'm serving, steak every day, and the members that we're serving don't have any teeth, it don't make any sense. They ain't gonna be able to eat it. Right? So we need to actually ask the people that we serve, what is it that you need? And then develop the programs around that. And we also tell people that Florida oranges don't grow in Idaho, and Idaho potatoes don't grow in Florida. So you got to look at what comes out of your soil and what makes sense in your community.
True.
So what happens in Rhode Island is not going to happen in South Florida. And what happens in South Florida is not going to happen in York County. Because as we know, in York County, you know, we grew up in an era where it was insane. It was crazy. You had the race riots that happened back in the 60s.
Yes,
You have still some of that stuff that's lingering. I came from York. I'm now in the deep south. I have that times 10 down here. Back in the community that I work in the mid 80s, they had a bell that used to ring. They used to ring the bell, and minorities had to be off the streets when they rang that bell. In the 1980s.
What? Where's this at?
It's absurd in South Florida.
Oh, okay.
In South Florida,
Wow.
every town that has the word beach in it was a sundown town. And if you look it up, it was called sundown towns, where when the sun went down, everybody had to get out. It's still on the books to this day. That's why it's called Cocoa Beach, Melbourne Beach, South Beach.
Yeah.
They haven't changed any of that stuff. So when you're still fighting that kind of, you know, the way that you provide services is still very discriminatory on how things move. So we came in and said, listen, this is not what we do. We come in and we're here for everybody. We want to help every single person who's in need who comes to our doorsteps.
Wow. Still things from the more things are the same, the more they're the same.
What school did you grow up in? Just do like a little personal. You got family, kids, and what school did you?
Yes, I went to Catholic.
Catholic. Okay.
Yeah, I went to Catholic. I graduated from Catholic. Went to St. Pat's. Before St. Pat's, went to Devers.
Okay.
Grew out that way. Played sports with Claiborne and Emnico and Scott Dahl. That was the clique that I kind of. That's the clique that I kind of ran around with.
Okay.
But I got out of York, and truly it was the best thing for me and my family, and for us to kind of prosper and to do what we do. But you know, there's still always love for York that I always come back, because my parents they passed away September 13th, 2015. So I usually fly in and fly out the same day. So I come in, I go to the gravesite, I do what I got to do, and then, you know, I'm usually out the door, because when I come in, man, and I see this stuff that it just looks horrible to me, man. Like, you know, you ride down Queen Street, you know, and I looked at Hess gas station, and it's not there no more.
Yeah, that's wild.
It looks dilapidated, man. It looks like that. I mean, it's just sad, man. It's sad that, you know, there's no economic development that's coming into the communities. Like, we've talked about it for years. Food deserts. You know, how many grocery stores are in the city?
Right.
You know,
hasn't changed.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You know, and again, why is that?
Right. Well, this is what this program is all about, and I got the little spine tingling thing in my brain, like when you drink something too cold, because this is what we want to implore to everybody who's listening. If you can hear the sound of my voice, you have a duty to answer for your community. We can't wait for our elected officials, whether it be on a local level, state level, or even on a national level. We can't wait for that. We already know what some of that's going on anyway. So it's the time to, like Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror. And I do know there's individuals. I'm born and raised here. I moved away for a while, and I came back maybe 2015 to 16. So we got the talent. We got individuals making LLCs. We got the business acumen has really kind of exploded, and particularly with the minority population, people that we grew up with. But now it's time to pivot some of that entrepreneurial knowledge that we came upon, to pivot that and lead with our hearts and actually start to develop nonprofit that actually assists people outside of ourselves. So I said you're a trailblazer, we're gonna be reaching out to you even more. And can you hit us up? Cause we got more eyeballs watching in right now. There's a basketball game going on, so people, so they might not be calling in right now, but best believe they're gonna be checking this out. But could you reiterate some of the social sites and whether Facebook, Instagram, and then the company, is it called The Source or it's called Source?
Yeah, it's called The Source.
The Source.
And it's www.iamthesource.org.
Yes,
We're located in South Florida. You can Google the Dignity Bus. You can Google that, check it out. It'll pop up all over the place. But we've had not just local attention, but we've had national attention. We've had individual endorsements from former NBA owners to celebrities like Kathy Lee Gifford has endorsed our programs and products. We also created from our culinary training program. It's on Amazon. We have an award-winning sauce called Mo Sauce that we sell that came out of our culinary training program. 100% of proceeds go back to ending homelessness around the country. We also have coloring books that are available. We just shipped the shipment out to Devers Elementary so that young folks can learn about homelessness and what that means to be homeless at a younger level of getting kids that are younger, because you might live out Parkway, or you might live in a facility that you might not think is great, but you got a home. There's people that don't have homes, and they don't have a place to lay their head at night, and they're not safe at night. So we wanted to just educate some younger folks on that. So if you work with some organizations with kids, please reach out to us. We'll ship them. I'll get them to you guys so that can get in the hands of our youngsters. So we're super excited about that as well. And we're super excited about bringing a possible Dignity Bus to York City.
For sure.
Yes, with God's help, me and Brother Ptah is going to get right on this. And you said to contact the Continuum of Care and take it from there. Takes a lot of dedication, like you said, and I like what you said earlier about, I think people have good intentions, but it's not really getting people out of that sunken place of being homeless is just by giving them meals.
Right.
You got to eat every day, and why are these meals just around the holidays? What about the other 363 days? What was that, brother?
Remember that. Compassion doesn't solve homelessness.
What was
just
that?
Being compassion doesn't solve
okay.
homelessness.
Right.
It doesn't. You have to, whatever faith that you believe in, faith without works, you have to work, is death. You have to work. You have to work it. So we could sit here all day long and pray for it to work out. But if you ain't going out there hustling and working it, it's not going to happen. Right? So you have to, there's a lot of dreamers and a lot of people have vision, but if they ain't ready to do that work. And one thing that we're willing to do is we're willing to do that work. So if you find an organization, whether it's the United Way, whether it's the Continuum of Care, reach out to me. I will fly my team up there. We'll do a presentation. We'll present to the community and make it happen.
And I remember, Anthony, before, when we first started talking, you said that these checks can be cut almost overnight once you do the legwork.
Overnight. There's American Rescue Plan money. It's called ARPA funds. There's called Community Development Block Grant funding that every city gets that pays for operational money. It has to be distributed to organizations within the community. You'll learn all of that, where that funding goes, if you just attend those COC meetings, those Continuum of Care meetings.
We will.
On what's going on in the community. And again, when you go to a city council meeting and you step up and you talk, they're giving you 3 minutes to talk to the community, but it's already set. Right. It's already set in motion, right? The business is already being held behind closed doors. You got to get behind closed doors and get that stuff handled so that when you walk into the city council meeting, it's already rubber stamped. They're just going to let you talk and say, okay, we're going to do what we're going to do regardless. Thank you for your comments, but we appreciate you. Here's what we're going to do.
Actually.
You just got to get behind closed doors and sit with people and say, hey, listen, I know that we have a problem in the community, but I'm bringing you a solution.
Wow.
Continuum of Care.
Yeah, that's
So-
gonna be our first contact.
Somebody just asked as well. They're on the same frequency. They wanted to know what the name of the meeting is called. And then I wanted to ask you, and please send. You got Shareef's email address, as we got about. Those who are watching on White Rose Community Television, we got about 5 minutes. Like I said, those who have exclusive access on Facebook, you can stick on for a little bit. But please make sure you send us any type of video publication, any type of like commercial snippets, or even coming up this new events that you got going on. Make sure you send that at us. We're working on this technology here with this show. We're actually going to be showing like little commercials or infomercials. So this is something that we would love to kind of have like something like a little 30-second something to help circulate this. This ain't gonna be no one-time thing. We want to kind of keep the party going. For those who are listening right now, this gentleman Anthony Zorbaugh has the source. Go to iamthesource.org. The Dignity Bus. The Dignity Bus holds up into 20 persons, including your pets. Think about it. It's a mobile shelter where you're able to go in there, you're able to sleep in for the night, and not only that, but also the Dining with Dignity, which is a restaurant-style eatery where individuals get served very, very wholesome meals, and that's funded also by the Dignity Catering company that you were saying. Not to mention the Dignity Smiles program as well. This is another program that is really set out to make sure that we the individuals that are getting off their feet, getting out of the rut, so to speak, and then actually projecting themselves into the workplace and things. You want to make sure that you have a beautiful smile and everything. So got free dental restorations for individuals, not to mention this vacation resort that you mentioned, 18 units coming up. Man, you got a lot going on. So this is quite a blueprint drop in your lap. If you're listening at home, you might say, okay, that's great. Yeah, that's great for him. Clap, clap, clap. Ask the question, do we need this? I'm pretty sure if you experience homelessness here in York, Pennsylvania, if you want to work with the solution, stay tuned. If you can't help with your physical wherewithal, there will be some type of fruition coming out of this where you're able to put your resources toward that. We're looking to build with this particular conversation. So thank you very much. So I can get back to you.
Brother Anthony, let's just say, and we're going to talk this into existence here in York. Is there a time frame? Say we started tomorrow and we got 15, 20 people. Is there a time frame with the clients or the people from the community being on the bus?
There's not. There's no requirement for us. The way that we operate, if an individual can pay, he can stay.
Wow, I never heard of that before.
If you see the picture behind me, I just switched it from the Dignity Bus to our children's coloring book.
Okay.
So if you guys are interested in that, I will send you anybody out there in York, PA that's on your live stream that's interested. Please send Shareef an email, and I'll get you guys coloring books. Shareef, I'll send you some Mo sauce. When you get the Mo sauce in the mail, just have some bottles online. Give us a shout out.
Definitely.
Tell us what you think. It's a award-winning Mo sauce. It's a sweet jalapeno pineapple sauce that goes on everything.
Wow, man, this is God's
it's
work.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
This is God's work. It's going to take some leg work, but it's more than worth it because it could be me, and we don't want to just be handing out dinners. That's nice and all, but that's not solving the problem, like you said. We want to be problem solvers, and this great idea and work that you're doing. Not to step on anyone's toes, you don't gotta say any names, but this isn't foreign to York, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, we'll just leave it at that because me and you have talked.
Correct.
But you have it in the. I'm very much interested in with every fiber of my body. I'm gonna try to make this happen because I just can't continue to watch people sleeping on church steps and there on Market Street. you see people lined up in the freezing cold. See, we don't got no Florida weather. You remember how it was, Anthony, here?
Oh, I know.
They're
I
lined
just
up
was
at
I just was
the,
up there.
what is that called? The life path?
Yeah, Life Raft Ministries, right?
Yeah.
That was the York County Rescue Mission.
Yeah, yeah, they're lined up there every day.
Every day.
Huge line just to get a plate of food. Isn't there somewhere inside that they can wait for their food? Why do they gotta wait out in the cold like that?
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
and yeah, it's the way that people look at humanity and look at individuals that are experiencing stuff around the country. And I'll leave you with this. We had one of our people call them clients, we call them members. People that live with us, we call them neighbors. Right?
Mhm.
We don't. It's not a service industry for us. It's
Right.
They're part of our family, part of our community.
right.
So we had a member that played for the Chicago Bears
Mm.
in the National Football League, and he was one of the best to come out of Vero Beach High School. He played at LSU. He got drafted by the Chicago Bears. He was playing the Eagles, and he got injured, and he couldn't play anymore.
Mm.
So he got addicted to crack cocaine and became homeless and was on the street. And he was sleeping on the church steps. And the pastor comes out and gives him a pillow. And he said, I can't come inside. He said, I can't let you inside. So he said, but I can take you to somebody that can help you. He brought him to me. The next day, he brought him to me. And he said, Tony, if you don't help him, he's going to die. I said, well, what did you do for him?
Mm.
You're a man of God. What did you do for him? He said, I gave him a pillow. I said, well, shame on you.
Mm.
Shame on you for doing that, because that's a huge responsibility to just bring a human being to me and tell me that if I don't help him, he's going to die. That should have been the question you said to yourself. If I don't help him, he's going to die.
Right.
Mhm.
Right? Long story short, he came to us, came through our program. He got back on his feet, housed, vehicle, living his best life. And that's just what we do. We restore people. We see things in people that people are broken, but they have gifts and abilities and talents, and we put them back together, release them back in the community, and let them live the life that God wants them to live.
Great. Brother Ptah, you want to read the comments?
Yeah, I'm gonna read some of these comments out here. We got positive individual named Positive Energy. They're really enjoying the program, saying this is Taisha share. This is God's work. We got individuals that Mr. Gordy Harrison is asking questions, getting into like the specifics of the blueprint. So we really kind of piqued some interest in here as well. Just sharing about how positive this program is, and we speak about this program as far as finding your passion and being passionate about your passion. So you seem to be a proponent of that. Not only that, looking at a way to transpose the energy. This is a beautiful story, like you were sharing. You don't have to go too much in depth if you don't want to, but just the powerfulness of just saying having some loved ones perish in a fire. You know what I mean? And then providing these opportunities for people to actually have a home. And I haven't had to experience that. And my heart goes out for individuals that are suffering over there in California as well, having tragedies where the place where you have all your keepsake, all your memories and all that type of thing kind of be eroded. But out of that flame or out of that ashes or out of that negativity, so to speak, to be able to flourish and bring something really, really high frequency like this, like I said, that's just another level of God showing himself. So I just wanted to mention that.
And we do this all with zero federal money. We take not one federal dollar. We take not one city dollar. We don't take one county dollar. This has truly been funded from individuals from across the United States, not just Vero Beach. We have individuals. We had a lady from Philadelphia, believe it or not, when we talked about the 30-acre campus, sent in $1 million check.
Beautiful.
We have people from all over the country that truly believe that it's their responsibility to much is given, much is required.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to make a difference in the lives of people around the country.
Well, I got a feeling that we're going to be meeting and shaking hands, or whether we got to drive down which I don't mind, drive down there, or we're going to...
Drive up to Uber and get on Allegiant Airlines, and you fly into Orlando, and we pick you up. It's less than $50 one-way ticket.
Yeah. Either that or like I said, what we're manifesting, and we're gonna raise this city up so tremendously that we're gonna have you come back and kind of put your eyeballs on what's going on. So either way, we're gonna be meeting in person.
Let's do it.
Is anything else you want to share or inform us with before we close out?
Yeah, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, I ain't got my Ravens hat. Yeah, that's right. Eagles and Ravens in the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's right.
Eagles winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. And somebody just asked a real quick question before we kind of close out. How could someone donate to the program?
Yep, www.iamthesource.org.
Gotcha.
As soon as you go to that website, there's a Donate Now button, and you can just check us out on Facebook. They can just go on Dignity Bus on Facebook, and everything will pop up.
IamTheSource.org.
IamTheSource.org.
I'm gonna get working on that continuum of care, and
Yep.
it'll flow from there, and we may be reaching out to you for some guidance, but we're gonna get this thing rolling.
Sounds good.
All right.
I'm only 10 numbers away.
Yep, and you have my number, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. You're an angel of God, and I'm overfilled with joy.
Appreciate you guys. If you need anything, just give me a holler.
Okay, we'll be in contact real soon.
All right, brother. Easy.
Thank you.
Some words before I shut it off?
No, that's it.